Throughout history, certain killers have captured public attention, often romanticized or even misunderstood. While their actions are simply criminal, many of these figures gain notoriety due to their charisma, media portrayal, or larger societal issues. In this video, we'll examine some of these killers in history whom America has fallen in love with, including Luigi Mangione, alongside other infamous killers whose stories America has paradoxically admired or been fascinated by. Luigi Mangione, the UHC killer. Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old, was charged December 4, 2024, for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown Manhattan. Mangione's crime stemmed from frustrations with the healthcare system after struggling with chronic health problems and medical debt. His manifesto, discovered during his arrest, criticized corporate healthcare for prioritizing profits over patient care. While Mangione's actions were condemned, his grievances about healthcare resonated with millions. Public opinion polls reflected that many Americans believed systemic healthcare failures justified the murder of a healthcare company's CEO. Comedian Bill Burr even used the case to criticize the greed of insurance companies, sarcastically calling for Mangione's release. But you know what they say, sarcasm often hides a hint of truth. People across America are very outspoken in their support of Mangione. Many donated to help pay for legal fees, while others showed their support on social media, praising his actions as a necessary catalyst to change. However, the public's response highlights a pattern seen in other cases where societal frustrations and systemic failures lead to partial sympathy for the perpetrator. Mangione became a symbol of resistance against corporate greed, though his methods were clearly indefensible. What do you think? Ted Bundy, the charismatic killer, one of the most infamous serial killers in American history, was responsible for the deaths of at least 30 women in the 1970s. Known for his charm and good looks, Bundy lured victims by pretending to be injured or in need of help, preying on the weak. Bundy's courtroom charisma captivated the nation during his trial, where he famously acted as his own lawyer. Women flocked to the courthouse, enamored by his appearance, somehow blind to the horrific details of his crimes. Hollywood and the media played a significant role in romanticizing Bundy. The Netflix film Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, starring Zac Efron, reignited fascination with Bundy. Bonnie and Clyde, the outlaw lovers. Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow were Depression-era outlaws who robbed banks and small businesses across the United States in the 1930s. Their crime spree left a trail of blood, including the deaths of multiple police officers. Despite their violence, Bonnie and Clyde became folk heroes, seen as rebels against a system that oppressed the poor during the Great Depression. Their romance, often dramatized in films like 1967's Bonnie and Clyde, added a tragic, romantic allure to their story. The duo's story continues to be romanticized in popular culture as a tale of love and rebellion, overshadowing the brutality of their crimes. John Dillinger, the gentleman bank robber. Also during the Great Depression was the famed John Dillinger. He was a bank robber during the Great Depression who became notorious for his daring escapes and robberies. He was accused of killing a police officer, but was mostly known for his flashy style and charisma. Dillinger's crimes were seen as acts of defiance against a corrupt banking system during a time of economic hardship. He was admired for targeting institutions, like destroying hundreds of mortgage records, rather than targeting individuals, and his dramatic escape from prison using a fake wooden gun added to his legendary tale. Media coverage painted Dillinger as a modern Robin Hood. Films like 2009's Public Enemies further mythologized his life. Charles Manson, the cult leader. Charles Manson led the Manson family, a cult responsible for the murders of actress Sharon Tate and several others in 1969. Manson orchestrated the killings, believing they would incite a race war he called Helter Skelter. At the scenes, he left false clues to make it seem as though the Black Panthers were responsible. Manson's hypnotic influence over his followers and his erratic behavior during his trial drew massive media attention. His connection to the counterculture movement of the 1960s added to the public's obsession. Manson even managed to get married at 80 years old while in prison, receiving his marriage license to Afton Elaine Burton, a misguided 26-year-old who insisted Manson was innocent. Manson's notoriety as a cult leader has been exaggerated in popular culture, though he effectively was able to manipulate and exploit the hippie subculture of his time. Films, books, and even songs have romanticized his life and influence, which seem to turn a blind eye to his many murders. Jeffrey Dahmer, the cannibal killer. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 young men between 1978 and 1991, engaging in necrophilia and cannibalism. Dahmer's calm demeanor during police interviews, his troubled childhood, and the bizarre details of his crimes captivated the public. The Netflix series on the Jeffrey Dahmer story reignited people's fascination with the crooked-minded killer. Some fans developed an unsettling admiration for Dahmer, writing letters to him in prison and glamorizing him as misunderstood. Aileen Wuornos, the female serial killer. Wuornos killed 7 men between 1989 and 1990, claiming they had attempted to assault her while she was working as a woman of the night. Her case drew attention as a rare example of a female serial killer challenging traditional gender roles. The Oscar-winning film Monster, 2003, starring Charlize Theron, further added to the appeal of the killer. Wuornos' tragic upbringing and her claims of self-defense created a narrative that resonated with many women, portraying her as both a victim and a perpetrator. People saw her as a strong and independent woman, heroic even, for defending herself against male aggression. Obviously, her actions don't excuse her crimes, but she is admired at a time when men were seen as constantly dominating or overwhelming women in society. It's no surprise that a massive number of women are her supporters. The Zodiac Killer, the enigmatic villain. The Zodiac Killer is linked to 5 confirmed murders in the 1960s and 1970s in California, though he claimed to have killed many more. He taunted police and the media with cryptic letters and codes. While not highly admired or praised, the Zodiac Killer's mysterious methods captured the minds of many. The killer's identity remains unknown, fueling endless speculation, books and films like Zodiac 2007. The mystery and intelligence behind his communications have kept the public intrigued for years. The Zodiac Killer's anonymity and the intellectual challenge of solving his ciphers have turned him into a mythic figure, overshadowing the horror delivered to his victims. Luigi Mangione's place in history. While figures like Bundy, Bonnie and Clyde and Manson represent different eras of crime, Luigi Mangione represents a more modern archetype, the disillusioned individual pushed to extremes by systemic failures. Unlike the others, Mangione's notoriety is tied to a specific societal issue, healthcare in the United States, and how profits have been placed at a higher value than the people it serves. The public's reaction to Mangione mirrors the fascination with previous killers. Public figures and commentators have both condemned and sympathized with his frustrations. But make no mistake, murder is wrong. It is never justified to take the life of a person in cold blood. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. See you next time, or in one of my other awesome videos. The history of Chex and Kellogg are actually much darker than you'd expect.